It's your boy, Mesidor. Welcome to a new video, guys. I'm going to be talking about electric battle healing today. Um, it is on par to me with nature battle healing. Those of you who have watched my videos know I have placed at the top, not because nature's heal powers do damage, because none of them do. It's because they keep healing going constantly, where you can basically focus on doing damage without having to worry about heals because your heals are constantly up. Electric is actually a much more active um, healer. You don't have a ton of heals over time up. You got a few. Um, really, you got one. No, you got a couple. Um, it's a much more active healer, but the way I run it, it is more of a rotation, like a lot of my loadouts are. My loadouts are usually going to be rotations because rotations are easy practice. You can spend some time at the sparring targets and do a really good job. You are going to see a little variation in the way I do things here. Um, so I actually did change my art setup. So these four are a typical art setup for battle healing for me. I'm always going to run these. This does the most damage in the game. This does the second most damage in the game. And so I'm always going to be running those two usually. This is the biggest stat boost in the game. So I'm usually going to be running that. And this is one of the biggest crit boosts in the game. Actually, I think it is the biggest crit boost because it's definitely higher than Candle. And you don't have to do anything for this one. Now this paired with Candle is quite OP because then you're getting close to 70% crits and huge crit magnitude. So that's huge. But I don't have room for Candle. But what I do have room and where I'm altering my normal art setup is normally I would have EOG here, and EOG is still an option for sure. It's still an option, especially if you like my boy Greg DeLuca and you're running more 2500 power supercharges. You can with EOG you can spam 2500 power cost supercharges forever soon as they come off cooldown. And if you run multiple of them, you can definitely, and you can run multiple 2500s, three that I can think of right off the top of my head, because if you're super speed, you have speed drain, which is 2500, and you have dash attack, which is 2500, and then you come down to your iconics, and you have pheromone bloom, which is 2500. So you can literally keep those on a rotation and never run out running EOG. So that is totally viable. I'm not saying it's not. But as an electric battle healer, again, I want to be able to focus on damaging a little bit more while keeping heals flowing. So one of the ways I do that, in addition to Razor sending out its random heals, something a little more direct is I will run Page of Destiny. And Page of Destiny is great because it gives you a safety net. And so if I'm in the middle of doing Omega Beams, or I'm in the middle of casting, Hope Wave, which is a longer combo, I have the safety net in place because I am spamming multiple group heals. So when you're spamming multiple group heals, with this artifact, you're getting those group heals to 6 players now instead of 4. They're getting boosted by 20%. So it's going to give you a 40% safety net of if any of your players fall below 40%, they're instantly going to get healed back up. And with you spamming 2 different group heals, it builds Revivify really fast and basically puts stacks on your whole entire group really fast and really can be a lifesaver. So when you hear Revivify go off, it's also great to know, oh, If I hear more than one Revify go off, that means everybody's taking damage. I don't even have to look at health bars. I can then jump cancel out of whatever I'm doing and go in right into heal spamming if I need to. So it's also a great audio cue for if my group is taking damage. And it's such a unique sound that it really does give you notice that your group is taking damage. Like if I hear that twice, boom, I'm canceling. If I'm in a middle of Omega, I'm going to jump cancel out of it and start spamming my heals. And you'll see most of my damage powers are heals in this loadout. That's one of the great things about Electric is a lot of its powers do damage as you heal. Arc Lightning is extremely. I see a lot of Electric healers running without Arc Lightning. I think it's a huge mistake. Not only does it do damage while it heals, it can double heal and it can double damage as it bounces off things. It just depends on proximity, how close things are. Um, it can double proc, and I've seen it double proc a lot. And it's a good amount of damage, even as a healer, and it's a really great heal. So I personally always run Arc Lightning anytime I'm electric. If I went straight healer, I'm still going to run Arc Lightning. I'm just going to cut it with another healing power. So it basically gives a boom boom double heal, which if you've been watching my videos, you know I use healing powers to clip. Even when I'm not a healer, I'll use healing powers to clip. Now, if you don't have Page of Destiny, that's perfectly fine. Run EOG, because most people did start out with EOG, so that might be what they have. Perfect. Run with EOG. If you don't have EOG, run with Purple Healing Ray if that's what you chose to level up. Perfect. You can do that too. Let's say you don't have either one of those. Run with Scrap if you have it. That'll work. If you have the Clarion, that will work. Lots of things will work in that fifth spot. Remember, we used to only have 3 artifacts. So, and to me, the 4th and 5th artifact are kind of luxury items anyway. I mean, they really all are. But the 4th and 5th are really luxury items. You can get by without them. Then the current content is pretty easy, in my opinion. Although I just was in an MOE where they were in there for over an hour and there was tons of deaths and it was pretty brutal looking. We did get them through it. I came in and helped. Some other people came in and helped. So we did get the people that stuck through it. We got them through it. So that's my art setup. My allies are Superboy still. Although I've considered taking out the 5% might boost and switching it for Mr. Freeze, but I'm not really running shields right now. Chilling Vengeance, I really like the supportability. Chilling Vengeance, it works great on my tank. For somebody that uses a lot of shields, you'll get a lot of these up. When you put up a shield and you get hit or that shield gets hit, it has a chance, a 25% chance of putting out a Snow Devil, and they do decent damage. And you get 3 of them out there, and it's really not hard to get 3 of them out there. It really isn't. I have 3 out all the time on my tank. So I considered it and running more shields in my loadout, but the content just doesn't really call for shields that much, to be honest. It's okay if you run shields. There's nothing wrong with running shields. Greg DeLuca, the gingerbread man, loves running shields. Get it. I used to run a ton of shields. If this was B&E, I would have more shields in my loadout, for sure. But with the current content and with them taking B&E out, I don't really feel the shields are necessary. In Love and War, I think that's the name of the raid, right? The new throwback raid, it's really not necessary. The one-shots are one-shots. So if you are not blocking when she puts that AoE out, you're going to die, period. You have to block. That's the only way to prevent that death. I have survived it a couple of times as a tank, but I've also died several times as a tank. One of the problems with battle tanking, and I'm not going to get off in a big tangent with battle tanking, is it's a lot of numbers popping up really close to the boss, and sometimes it's really hard to see that skull. I mean, sometimes there's so many numbers, I can't see the skull. Doing the green numbers, the yellow numbers popping, because all the heals and all the damage I'm doing, it's really hard to see that skull. Same thing on my DPS and battle healer. You know, if you got a lot of numbers popping, it's hard to see that skull. And in this loadout, you're going to have a ton of numbers popping, ton of green, ton of yellow. It's sometimes hard to see that skull, and it's really not your fault. Now, I have an idea about that I'm going to test out later today. I know you can do an outline on a character. I wonder if I do the outline, which will make the character stick out more, even though I don't like that option. I wonder if I'll be able to see the skulls easier. I'm going to try that. One of you may have already tried that. It's been a long time since I did that outline option. I turned it off when they first came out with it, and I don't think I ever brought it back, and it just popped in my head the other day. So I'm going to try that. So yeah, it's Love and War. Love and War, Wonder Woman, just don't hit her. If you don't hit her while she's got the blue bracers up, then you don't have to worry about dying. I see everybody blocking. You actually don't need to block when she's got the blue bracers up unless there's ads out there. You just got to not hit her. You just got to wait it out for her not to have the bracers up. Now, a lot of times the skull goes down and she still has the bracers up. So what I do is when she's got the bracers up, I run in closer to her to where I can see her better, and then I'll wait for those blue bracers to go away. But she also likes doing them back to back. But that's not what this is about. This isn't about how to do Love and War. So I know I get off on tangents, guys, but there's a couple of good pointers there. White mods, I'll go over white mods. It's all the typical stuff you get from the marketplace or your loyalty points if that's what you choose. But Ultimate Supercharge mod, huge. I always run a supercharge on tank, on healer, on everything because there's just so many good supercharges out there these days. So there's that. Ultimate Unending Power. So I am going with this versus the Might one, the typical one that gives you 2%. I'm never going to run the Resto one because it goes away when you get hit and you're just constantly getting hit. So to me, that one's always been pointless. It doesn't, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Accelerated power, ultimate accelerated powers mod, great for um, resetting your um, supercharged generators and your shields. Even though I'm not really running shields, as you guys will see. And I know a lot of healers already going, "You're not running a shield? That's insane." But you'll see, it's just not needed right now. Penetrating strikes, you could go multiple directions with this. If you're struggling with power, you could go into um, the 5% extra power or the 5% power reduction. If you want extra survivability, you could put in Hardy or Ultimate Hardy, which gives you 15% health. It is quite a big health boost, but I'm a battle healer through and through, so I'm going for penetrating strikes here. Ultimate Critical Prowess mod, don't sleep on 2.5% ability chance. It's 2.5%. It's 2.5. That's a lot of extra crits. Never sleep on your crits, guys. I know I say it a lot. Ultimate Tumbling Master is huge to me. I don't run a shield, but this one gives me a shield, and I'm good with it. And there's a reason why I don't run a shield as much. Now, can I swap shields in and out? Yes, as you will see. And then I'm going with Ultimate Maximize Damage mod, where using a superpower increases damage by 15% for 5 seconds. Not a very long boost, but a lot of the fights are short bursts anyway, so I'm good with it. But as you can see, they're all very DPS centric. All my gear is all healer. Healer OP gear. I don't ever run out of roll gear. I just don't. I'm still of the belief that I want as much resto as I possibly can have. I know some people will split the resto or cut resto short. I do not. I want all my heals there. So again, I can concentrate on DPS. The better heals I'm putting up, the more I'm filling up health bars, the less I have to worry about whether their health bar is filled up. And the stronger my Revivify is going to hit, I'm good with it. So there's that portion of it. Something I don't see a lot of people show, but I'm going to show you guys. As a battle healer, I run all power here. Battle healers, super power heavy. I clip a ton, so I'm super power heavy. So I need all the power I can get. I used to split this. I used to have all health in here for survivability. And I'd be honest, if like survival mode was to come back, I might consider going all health again to get that extra survivability. And I would just run supercharge power back supercharges to get power back. And because survival mode is all about survival. But since we don't, I run all power so I can be as spammy as I want to be. Because I mean, four of these is quite a bit of power. That's 140k power right here that you'd be missing out on. Resto, of course, I'm running all Resto, and I'm running all Might, because I am always going to be all Might. I'm not a big fan of Prec. Never will be. My affinity mods, and I have all 8, are Might, and I also run it this way because I want my DPS to hit as hard as possible. Even though I primarily play support roles, I primarily heal, I primarily tank. All I do is battle heal, and battle tank. So if I'm going to DPS, everything might as well DPS center. I do have healing conservation here, and I do have field medic here. And I also run these on my tank as well, because I'm fired. Just a little snippet there. Okay, so that shows you guys how I set that up. And what my thinking is there. I need all the power I can get, and especially since I'm not running power conservation in my chest to get that extra 2% defense ignore. Yeah, I need all the power I can get. Now, that brings me to 1.2 million power, so I have a really good power pool. I do not struggle with power all that much. In solo content, yeah, I'll have to cycle through power. I may even have to put in Surging Barrier, which we'll get to when I do my loadout. But usually content with a even average troll, I am fine. I may have to pop a cola every here and there, but I'm fine. I'm a big believer, and I shouldn't have to rely on a troll. I shouldn't have to rely on anybody. I rely on my tank to not let me get my ass beat as a healer. But even then, I'm trying to take as much precaution as I can outside of running a shield right now. Restoration, sitting at 537 base. This is going to get a huge boost through my pages. And part of the reason I'm 537 base is because how I have my stats set up. So I'm always going to go super powered focus to get that 25% power regeneration. It's kind of huge when you're might based. And I get that extra 10% might, and I get that extra 10% power. So that's big. Need all the power I can get. Always going to go after my crits, guys. Crits always come first. Before I ever go for stats, I always get my crits first. And on all my support roles, since I'm always battle support, I'm always going to get all 4. So these are mainstays. I personally decide to max out my resto. I want as much resto as possible. I want my heals to hit as hard as possible. I want my heals over time to hit as hard as possible. That's my choice. If I had another 100 might, I might go into dominance more. I'm choosing right now, just because the content's not that hard, to spec everything I have remaining into might and power. Again, because it gives me power. So I'm skipping out on some dominance, which is going to make your shields weaker, that I'm not running right now. But it's also making your heals a bit weaker. But I went full on in restoration. I probably could sack 100 here and go here and be fine. If I was running shields, I would definitely do that, but I'm not running shields. And this is a preference thing. I'm not saying shields are bad. You'll see why in a second. But I am running everything I have left in this, which gives me extra 58, 78 power, and every little bit helps. So ultimately, I am getting another 1545 might on top of the 10% might. So yeah, if I could max this might out, that extra might ends up actually 1545 might. That might actually jumps back up. Everybody keeps talking about diminishing returns. if you check your DPS, when you max out your might, you end up with like 35,000 might. You get diminishing returns from 100 to 200, and you get some returning returns from 200 to 440. Pay attention, guys. So, math guy, go fuck yourself, because you're wrong yet again. Do some math yourself. You keep claiming you do math, but you don't. So, with that being said, let's get to the loadout. This is kind of a standard loadout for me when it comes to battle healing. I did have a spot for Luminous Beam, which I love running for more single target. One thing my tank doesn't have really room for right now is that nice single target. So I do, although I'm beating most DPSs that I'm running with, and that are average to a little, to kind of good. I'm not going to keep up with great DPS. That's just not going to happen. But they're not embarrassing me either, even though I'm in a support role. But single target usually struggles a little bit because most of my stuff is set up for AoE. And that's just a choice thing. So almost everything here is AoE, but all these iconics don't split. And Arc Lightning, actually, the way it functions doesn't really split that bad. So you'll hit everything for a couple 100,000. And the way it bounces, sometimes you get double procs. I love Arc Lightning. It's one of the best powers in the game, in my opinion. So, as I told you, I always run Arc Lightning. If I went full-on healer with no iconics, I'm going to have Arc Lightning in my loadout. So that's just the way it is. There is a couple healing powers I'm choosing not to run because they're a little power intensive. And so I'm going for lower cost healing powers. So the highest cost I have is 300 here. And that's by design. Oh, no, that's right. Magma is 400. I forgot about Magma being 400. But Magma is by far my most expensive power cost. One thing that you'll find is that running this helps with power because it slows you down a little bit. So where I'm clipping like crazy everywhere else, this slows me down a little bit, this slows me down a little bit, and lets my power regenerate a little bit. So that's a little secret sauce there for you guys that are maybe struggling with power. That's one thing that it actually does help a little bit, because that 25% power regeneration actually has a chance to regenerate. But Arc Lightning, and then I will clip Arc Lightning with Galvanize. Galvanize puts out a nice little heal over time, and I'm clipping it whether people need it or not. So let's just make that clear. Every healer power that I'm using to clip, I'm clipping whether people need heals or not. That's the whole point of the rotation, guys. If I'm constantly putting up a heal, I don't have to worry about did I heal on time, because I'm always putting up a heal. And you're going to see why and what I'm talking about. The only time I'm not putting up a heal is right here and right here. But right after this, I'm going into a heal, and right after that, I'm going to go into a heal. But if you'll see, Arc Lightning is a heal, followed by Galvanize. So if anybody's low, Arc's going to hit them for a big chunk, and Galvanize is going to finish them off. Awesome. This is a great 1-2 punch, guys. You could also do Arc Lightning into Bioelectric Surge, which is your priority heal, is another great 1-2 punch. I don't think it's as effective as that. I actually think the priority heal is almost a dead power that's not needed anymore. I use it more for clipping than I do as a necessity heal, even though it's called priority heal. Everything we're doing, all these powers we have do a ton of healing. So the days of having to spam your priority heal have been over for a while. Every great once in a while, if somebody's playing dumb or standing in black pools in B&E, etc., you might have to spam this. We don't have that content right now. B&E was out. I still didn't have to use it. I did sometimes. If you've got a person running pages that's undergeared and they're taking half their health as a hit every second, then you may need to run this, whether you choose to heal them or not. A lot of times I let those guys die. If you're going to come into my raid and you're going to run an undergeared pages that you know is a liability to the group, and puts the group at risk because you're dying constantly because you're taking so much damage and everybody's got to pick you up, then screw you, you can go die and we'll run the raid without you because at that point you're just a liability anyway. So with that little tangent, that little rant out of the way, I'm kind of going from this to this, from this to this, left to right. Greg DeLuca runs right to left because that's his preference. He's right. Most people run left to right because that's how a lot of people think. Left to right, some people think right to left, depending if they're right-handed, left-handed. It's whatever you find comfortable. I choose left to right. Although I will kind of mix this up from time to time, depending on the situation. If I messed up my rotation, I may have to adjust. Everybody messes up rotations. It's normal. It's okay to admit it, guys. So I will then hit Empowering Pulse, which causes a ton of damage. AoE doesn't split. And I will clip that with Recover, which is another group heal. So back-to-back group heals. So what this does, guys, is it's getting pages, or not pages, page. It's getting this stacked up really fast. Page of Destiny is getting stacked up really fast. Whereas you used to only have one group heal, we now have the luxury of having two. So I can get my Revivify up on the whole group really fast because I'm hitting 6 people with this, I'm hitting 6 people with that, right? 60 people healed, 6 people healed. Now you kind of are starting to get how you heal so quickly, and you're not really struggling to keep people up because I'm bombarding the group with constant heals while I do damage. That's the theme you're going to see here. That's the secret sauce. It's not really secret sauce. It's just kind of common sense if you think about it. So if you're clipping everything with a heal, it's constantly going to keep everything healed, right? And so the way you'll find me doing my loadout is here to here to here to here. And then you'll see me either go to this if I feel like everybody's safe, which usually after those 4, they are. Or I'll get this stuff going, and then I'll come back to this. So, and this is all to get this up really quick. So by clipping everything with a heal, guys, and this is my big problem with sorcery, is that sorcery's got all healing powers that don't let you clip with them, and that's bullshit. If it's a healing power and it doesn't do damage, it should be clippable. That's every other power in the game does that. Why they won't let you do it with sorcery is bullshit. That's my big gripe with sorcery. So then I'm going to clip Magma Vortex with Electrogenesis. Electrogenesis gets slept on a lot, guys. Now, I'll admit, when it was single tray, I didn't run Electrogenesis. I didn't think the juice was worth the squeeze. It's an aura around you. It used to be that it would heal you and another target and give you an aura. I don't think that's the way it goes anymore. So, or on yourself and your closest group member, or a damaging. No, it still does give it to you and one other person, and then that person gives off an aura. So it's a better heal over time than what you think. So if it gives it to you and you cast an aura around you, and I believe it's a 10-meter aura, guys. Now don't quote me on that because it doesn't say. But I remember way back in the day, somebody did some testing and discovered that that was a 10-meter aura. If you and another person have a 10-meter aura, that can actually be a viable heal over time. It's not the greatest heal over time, but for only a cost of 200, and I've got 2 trays now, I'm going to run it. So I'm clipping this with this, and I'm clipping this with this. So you're able to go through the loadout really fast, and the second this comes off cooldown, Omega, you're going to have it back up. Now, just because Omega's up doesn't mean I immediately hit Omega. If I don't have a recent heal up, I'm not going to run it. So if this isn't up and I haven't just hit this, I'm probably going to wait to hit that. So usually I do these and I come back and I hit this, but a lot of times I will come back and do Arc Lightning to fill everybody up and hit this. I've already got this going. That now gives 2 quick heals over time and gives me time to put Omega out, or gives me time to cast Hope Wave, which also has a heal on the 3rd hit. Which guys got to get the point. I'm making sure things are safe before I go into an Omega Beam. Not every time. Sometimes I'll look over at heal bars or health bars. If everything's good, I'm going to trust my Revify to do its job as well. Remember, you have a 40% safety net out there. By the time I've gone through my rotation, I might have hit both. I'm definitely going to hit both of these at least once, and I might have hit both of these twice. Because there's nothing wrong with waiting to do Omega to hit this and clip it with this one more time as well, guys. Because this does a fuck ton of damage. I get hits over 1,000,000 on everything out of Empowering Pulse or Lotus, whatever you want to call it. A lot. Let's see where I'm at with time. 30 minutes. God damn it, I talked too much. So I'm going to wrap this up real quick. I'm actually going to do a full healer loadout in another video. That's going to be a lot more healer centric, and it's going to be no iconics centric. I'm going to actually do that in its own separate video. I feel like Electric deserves that attention. It's in my opinion, 1 and 1A to nature, and when it comes to battle healing, I don't even know if I can pick a favorite anymore. I love them both. I'll be honest. It's when I'm nature, it's hard to come back to electric, and when I'm electric, it's hard to come back to nature because I love them both that much. So this is the loadout. I am gonna go and fight Hesse or Leshy, or I'm gonna fight. I might even fight. Let's go fight Leshy just for time. Vice is a little too long. Too many ads in the way. So we'll go fight Leshy, and you'll kind of have, and he's weaker than Vice. You'll kind of have an idea of what we can do. If people join in, great. If not, so you'll kind of see what kind of power usage it's going to be. Oh, and while I'm doing this, I'll kind of explain. See, got knocked out of my rotation. Got knocked out of my rotation. Sometimes you just have to adjust. Got knocked out of that. That's okay. So you can see power's already becoming an issue. I'm going to pop my Cola right away so that comes off cooldown faster. I've already gotten 2 procs off. And this is part of the reason I am not running shields. I'm getting... Oh, I messed that up. Because I want as many procs as I can on Razor. And the content just doesn't click. Content is just not that hard right now. It's just not. So now I'm going to hit my supply drop to keep my power down. Oh, and don't forget, I have single target. Non-crit, 1.4 million, guys. Non-crit on that empowering beam. Non-crit. 2.2 on a crit. See why that's good to have for single target, even as a healer? It works. Now, as you can see, my Cola is already off cooldown. Right? So if I have power issues, boom. See, you don't have to have power issues. Is it power heavy? Absolutely, it's power heavy. Not gonna lie. 1.8 on a crit. So yeah, it's power heavy. But if you cycle your stuff correctly and you play it smart, and sometimes maybe even run a little bit, I could have put in empowering surging barrier. Oh, we got some help here now. I could have put in surging barrier, guys, to have for sure power all the time. In my opinion, surging barrier is better than word of power. It fills your health completely full and keeps it full for about 5 seconds. In my opinion, it's huge. As you can see, I'm not running shields, and I'm not really freaking out or taking massive damage or having a problem. My Cola's already almost off cooldown. Look at all the procs I'm getting off of my Razor, guys. I know we don't fully understand Razor. There's the Cola, starting to run out of power. Boom. I know we don't fully understand it, like how, does the amount of heals you put out make a difference. All I can do is speak from personal experience of I watch other people's videos and I'm just not seeing people get a ton of crits. And I think part of the reason is especially in solo content like this, if you're putting up a shield, so he can went down pretty fast. If you're putting up a shield, you're preventing heals, and you're going to slow that cooldown mechanic down by quite a bit. Um, and again, if we were running B&E, I would probably put some shields back in. I would sack some things, sack a heal or two, or take out that single target damage and put a shield in there. So just because I say this is my loadout, my rotation, that's right now. Um, that doesn't mean I don't swap things in and out. I swap things in and out based on the content or based on the group and how bad we're struggling. If I pug a lot, my league does not run together at all. I'm shopping for a league if anybody wants a healer and a tank in their league, and actually runs together. If you don't run together, don't bother because I'm just not going to join your league, or I'll end up leaving. But yeah, so if you, I kind of forgot where I was going with that, guy. Sorry. Long video, as all my videos are, because I talk too damn much. But there's my loadout. Oh, that's what I was talking about. You gotta adjust your loadout based on the people you're running with. So if you're having a group that's struggling, you got a troll that's not giving you power, and you're super power heavy. Guess what? Then you don't get to have Sunstone anymore because Sunstone's just icing on the cake anyway. And we put in Surging Barrier because Surging Barrier gives me a shield, gives me power, and when I combo with Hope Wave or you combo with anything, it's going to send out burst heals. So it plays right in. If you don't have Blue Lantern powers, put in Word of Power and give yourself some power back. There's tons of mechanics in this game you can use. You don't have to be stuck in one loadout. You just kind of have to think your way through the situation. When I soloed things, I was messing with my loadout as I went through and learned what worked and what didn't work. You know, when I soloed MOE Raid, some things worked and some things didn't. I had to change things in and out. So with that, guys, look forward to a straight up healer. That's going to be all electric centric. Electric has a lot of great heals in it besides what I have here. There's other heals in this, which we'll go over in the next video. With that, it's your boy, Mazador. I'm out.